Hi, I'm Sudeep Mutedat, Senior Principal Architect at Kin Carta.
Hi, I'm Mike Richter, a Principal Cloud Solution Architect at Microsoft. And Sudeep and I are putting together this video series to talk about the tremendous business value that customers can get when they move their Spring applications to Microsoft Azure. Now, Microsoft and VMware collaborated a couple of years ago to build Azure Spring Apps, which is a fully managed platform as a service offering for Spring applications in the cloud. And last year, we released the enterprise tier of Azure Spring Apps, Azure Spring Apps Enterprise. And that lets customers bring their applications that have the commercial Tanzu components inside of them. They can bring those to Azure. Now, while Azure and Microsoft and VMware collaborated on building this PaaS offering, Kin Carta is one of Microsoft's prioritized partners that has the capability and the track record to help customers modernize their Java applications to Azure.
Thank you, Mike. As a global digital transformation consultancy and Microsoft solutions partner with 3 advanced Microsoft specializations, Kin Carta is in a unique position to help you migrate and modernize your applications to Azure. In this video series, we will explain and show you the ease of migrating Spring Boot applications from on-prem to Azure Spring Apps with little to no code changes. We'll also cover the automation of provisioning and deployment along with setting up of monitoring, alerting, and logging, all using out-of-the-box solutions from Azure. Throughout the series, we will use Spring's Pet Clinic as the example application. Now, Pet Clinic is a sample application that utilizes several capabilities of Spring Boot and Spring Cloud ecosystem. This app allows you to view the customer and pet information, view their veterinarian information, view the existing visit information, and add visits and add pets. This application consists of a UI, 3 microservices, customer, vet, and visit. Each of these microservices connects to its own MySQL database on-prem. Each of these microservices require one or other external configurations that is used for connecting to the database and that is used for loading the data. All of these are maintained in an external config server. Each of them connects to this config server. Now, the UI need to talk to each of these microservices, and UI uses a service registry and discovery to identify where these microservices are deployed and then connect to them. Now, when you are running this on-prem, you have to manage all the plumbing and infrastructure needed to keep this up and running. Now, that also includes other additional services such as you need a credentials management system that holds the credentials for all of these database connections. So you can securely rotate these credentials and have them reflected on these microservices. You might also have a log storage system because the logs from each of these services need to be stored. And you'll also have an APM solution where the monitoring, so the metrics and other monitoring aspects of your applications can be stored. Now, you have to maintain and keep all of this up to date. You have to have your OS patched, and you have to have all the security vulnerabilities rectified for all of these components when you are running this in your on-prem. Now, Azure Spring Apps provides several of these features out of the box. We will see more of that detail in later videos. When you are migrating this application into Azure Spring Apps, you don't have to maintain a service registry anymore, neither a config server. These comes out of the box from Azure Spring Apps Enterprise Edition, and they are VMware licensed and supported. Now, you also have the ability to use Azure solutions for credential management, the log, and the APM. We have Azure Key Vault, the log analytics, or the Azure Monitor.
Right. And I think the other thing to think about, right, is when customers tend to go to the cloud, they're going to bring a microservices application to the cloud, they usually choose Kubernetes, right? And so with Kubernetes, if you think about it, you've got your developers, right? They're writing some code. That code's got to move to a code repository. That code's got to go then get built and into a container and then put into a container registry, and then it can get pushed into Kubernetes. And with a Kubernetes solution, there's a lot for the customers to manage, right? They have to manage the cluster, right? The deployments, the services, the node pools, all that stuff. And then when you have this pipeline going to containers, the container registry, that's even more to manage. And never mind all of the compliance, security that has to go when you think about this much more complicated system, right? With Azure Spring Apps Enterprise, you really don't have to worry about Kubernetes at all, right? There's no kubectl, there's no YAML that you have to manage, right? You can go right from your code really deployed into your Azure Spring Apps. And once you're in Azure Spring Apps, you have all the other Azure services available to you, right? We're talking about hundreds of managed Azure services in 60 different regions around the world, right? And even when you move this to the cloud, if you have to, if your solution still needs to talk to resources on premises, you can do that as well. And we'll discuss that in one of our other videos.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, as Mike said, you have all of these options available from Azure, but you don't necessarily need to use the Azure specific features if you have an application APM solution on-prem, such as an App Dynamics or a Dynatrace or a New Relic. Azure Spring Apps is flexible enough that you can easily connect them to your on-prem APM solutions. Kin Carta pairs its sustainable digital and application innovation and data and analytics approach with industry-leading Microsoft expertise to help our clients deliver products, platforms, and services. As a certified B Corp and 2022 Microsoft US Sustainability Changemaker Partner of the Year, we are committed to bringing a world that works better for everyone through a triple bottom line focused on people, the planet, and profit. Thanks for watching this, and join us for the next video where we go in depth about Azure Spring Apps and how to provision one.